Hey everyone, welcome to the Spooky and Weird with Sue St. Blaine. Jasper says hello, but he can't because he doesn't have a tongue. I wanted to give you an update on the new book. It's called Mirror and Void right now, but it probably won't be called Mirror and Void because I generally go through about 5, 6 different titles before I fix on one. Frozen Shadows, my latest one. I think we went through like 5 titles before we fixed on Frozen Shadows. I don't know, it just has to be right, and I'm very, very fussy. Oh, and I would Google things, right? And I would find that there's like 1,000 things already with that name. I am a better writer than I am a speaker. I don't use nearly as many likes and ahas, so I just want to make that clear. Um, or ums. Hmm. So that will be out, I'm hoping, by the end of the year. Maybe you have to understand that this mess takes an awful lot of time, and I want to get it right, so I'm not having as much time to write, which makes me sad inside, but it's all good. I get to talk to you guys, and that's wonderful. So today, what I thought I would do is read you a story from Frozen Shadows. Frozen Shadows is a collection of short stories, and some of them are very, very short. The one I'm going to read to you is like 2 pages long. All of this story up until a certain point actually happened. You're going to know when things start to become fanciful. But I'm going to put pictures down as I speak. I'm going to go ahead and show the actual source material, the actual thing that inspired the story, which I think is kind of fun. Everything. I think I have pictures for everything, and if I can figure out how to do it, there'll be as I speak, there'll be a picture of whatever it is I'm talking about. Mostly, and I don't have pictures of everything, but you'll be able to see a lot of that. If I can't figure it out, then you're going to see me with my face in the piece of paper reading, because I can't, I'm not an actress, like, at all. I can't memorize anything, not even my own stuff. And I don't, you know what? I don't have a poker face. I have heard it described as a loud face. What that means is that whatever someone like me is feeling inside, it's right here. So there's no hiding that. You know, if I'm talking to somebody and I'm trying to pretend that I'm interested, or that they're not, irritating, my face is going to go, and I won't even know. I mean, that's it. I can't play poker. I don't play poker. Okay, I don't know why I went off on that sidetrack, but yeah. So that's it. So hopefully the pictures will work. Hopefully I'll be able to figure it out, and it'll be interesting. I think it will be. I hope it is. It'll be more interesting than watching me go like this, which is the alternative, and nobody wants to watch that. So let's begin. I needed a break after a hell week of deadlines, so I decided to go for a walk on a twisty trail I love. I walked down a long staircase that leads to a tiny, secluded beach. It's just a spit of sand, really, covered in rocks and logs. The foghorns were blowing. It was perfect. Occasionally, when I hike out there, I've come across a man who lives among the trees. The first time I saw him, he was standing by his tent, holding a couple of plastic gas cans that I assumed he filled with water from somewhere. We both froze, afraid of each other's response. I just walked slowly away. I've seen him a time or two since then, and we nod to each other with a friendly understanding. I'm here to enjoy the sea and solitude. He's here to live his life. I'd love to talk with him, but he seems intent on his tasks, whatever they are. It's not my place to question another's path. Anyway, I sat on some driftwood and watched the waves crash on jagged rocks, larger and larger, the crest hissing as it turned to foam and disappeared. I closed my eyes and let the salty mist cover my face. After a while, I walked over the slippery rocks that led to another little beach, and I found the strangest thing. Now, a long time ago, as the city grew, they moved all the cemeteries to Colma, But sometimes the tombstones were repurposed and the bodies forgotten. Sometimes when a building is being renovated, they find an abandoned coffin. It's all part of our spooky history. But what I found baffled me. There are a lot of World War II remnants around here, so coming up on a ruin of some sort is not really that unusual. But this was different. It looked like it had fallen from the cliff above. I headed in to explore. White tile had crumbled off the wall, and a small porcelain sink was destroyed in the crash. The building had landed on its side, and it looked like an abstract painting. It was solid, so I stepped inside. I started to imagine who used this room. What kinds of things did they worry about? What kept them awake at night? It hit me, as it does sometimes. Most of these soldiers could have been my sons. Now they'd be very old men, but then they were just kids in this tiled box in the fog. As I was letting my mind fly away from me, I heard someone say my name, Shannon. I convinced myself that my ears played a trick on me. I stood still, listening to the waves, when I heard it again. Shannon. I turned too quickly, slipped on the slick tile, and landed awkwardly on my left thigh. I laid there for a moment, very aware of how defenseless I was, how vulnerable, when I heard the rustling in the trees and a squeak of shoes trying to navigate the moss-covered rocks. My heart was pounding. The squeak grew closer, and the pain in my hip got sharper. The fog turned to light rain, and I couldn't see much through my glasses. Just then, footsteps stopped. Slowly, and now soaking wet, I scooted to the opening, braving a quick glance. My heart raced. All around me, men made of fog and shadow, memories of soldiers going about their day in silence, dissolved in the wind and reformed. One of them turned and looked me directly in the eyes. He dissolved as the fog billowed and appeared slowly in front of me, his body wafting in the breeze as he regained form not 4 feet away. He reached out his hand, beckoning me to join him. Shannon, was all he said. I felt my hand reach back, wanting to go with him, when the foghorn stilled and the little beach echoed with the sound of one lonely trumpet playing tap. All of the soldiers looked around, quiet acceptance in their eyes. One by one, they faded back into the fog. I got up as quickly as I could, testing my injured hip, and realized I could walk across the rocks. As I rose, a gust of wind cleared the fog, and I saw a figure near the cliff. The young homeless man who lives in the trees was standing at attention, dressed in a pressed World War II Army uniform, a battered trumpet tucked under his arm. He stared at me for a moment, saluted, and marched slowly towards the hillside. I wanted to speak to him. I wanted to know how he came to have this ghostly duty. I wondered if anyone had ever taken that soldier's hand, but it was not my place to question another's path. Whatever happened to those boys so many decades ago? I hope they have peace now, that this was just an echo in time. But since there is a sentry with a trumpet, I expect they come back now and then. I go about my walks down the twisting paths to the rocky beach. A week or so ago, I saw a man crossing the rocks who didn't come back. The foghorn stopped, and I heard the trumpet again. I wondered if the sentry was sad that this one took that soldier's hand. I wondered why he did. but it's not my place to question another's path. So I walked back home. Well, if that worked, you just saw a bunch of pictures. I hope that worked. Um, so when I think it's probably pretty obvious when that stopped being real, right around the fog ghosts. Everything else pretty much is real. Everything else actually happened. The homeless man is real. He was standing out in the trees out in that park. A lot of that stuff you can find. It's not at all unusual in San Francisco. I don't believe I said San Francisco in that story because you know what? I wrote the city with a capital C. And I don't know that everybody is aware of how insufferable we are. But yeah, that's San Francisco. Cola is where they moved the bodies. And they did indeed sometimes do a poltergeist. You moved the tombstones, but not the bodies. Yeah, they did that. Um, yeah, so that's it. That's pretty cool. I like that story. Um, I don't know if I'm going to read another or too many other stories from Frozen Shadows, um, because I want you to read it on your own and purchase it. But there's another one I might read. You know what? There's another one I might read, but I was going to read it this week. I was going to read it today, but as I was reading it out loud, I realized that it is incredibly violent. It's incredibly violent and incredibly slasher-y. And I would really like sponsors at some point, and I'm just worried about being too me, and that story might be crossing a line. It's very, very funny. It's not serious story. It's very, very funny. And it is certainly not also based on an actual event, minus the hackety hack. Nope. Yeah, I may still read that. What do you think, Jasper? He says I should read it, but I don't know if he has the guts to do it. Anyway, yeah, I'm not proud of that joke. I'm not proud of that joke right now. But anyway, I guess that's it for this week. I will see you next week. Hopefully this video will be entertaining, and hopefully I will have figured out how to go ahead and do what I need to do, because I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants right now. In the meantime, you can pick up Frozen Shadows and Last Text on Amazon. You can find a link to my books and my other book, Life Songs, which is not a horror book. It's not fiction, but that is on SueSt.Blaine.com. There's a books tab that you can find all that on. And I guess that's it. If you like this video, please click like, and please click subscribe. You'll get notifications when a new video comes in, which I'm hoping to do weekly. And hoping that I can break myself of the habit of saying, and I don't make any guarantees on that. And cool. All right. Well, I will see you next time. Bye, spooky people. I wanted to speak to him. I wanted to know how he came to have this ghostly duty. Shit. I wondered if anyone had taken that soldier's hand, but it was a